the new 125 and Open Class champions crowned today on this truly world-class circuit. Yes, Donington Park brings motocross up a gear to a level which offers competitors and spectators alike the kind of facilities any international motorsport deserves.
This is what we need on the motocross. It's really good for the team, for the mechanics to work, and this is really professional. This is how it should be, really.
Well, that's how close the Open Class is. After 2 rounds, only 12 points separate the top 6 in the table, with reigning champion Rob Herring down in 4th. But it's the 125cc class we focus on first, and the main men are Suzuki's Jamie Dobb, fastest in qualifying, Neil Prince from Wrexham on his Honda, and last year's runner-up, but series leader in 1997 from Wisbech, Carl Nunn. And there it is, Jamie Dobb in 3rd, Neil Prince in 2nd, but with a 12-point lead, Carl Nunn knows it's not won yet. Carl, you're leading the 125 championship. You were in the same position last year going into Farleigh Castle, but it all went wrong for you.
Yeah, last year, you know, Farleigh Castle is quite a difficult track. Hadn't been ridden on for a couple of years, and I had a bad start in the first race, and I clipped a tree stump which was just at the edge of the track, which I didn't know was there, and I went down on some hard rock and hurt my leg pretty badly. You know, today I think a couple of safe rides. I've got enough points to be comfortable, so I think I can you know, hopefully wrap it up today.
Well, Carl Nunn on 62 points, but a lot of determined men keen to do as the gate drops down. They will be heading with Carl Nunn in their sights, but first of all, a left-handed corner, a very tight corner. The Suzuki of Dobb, 72 on the inside, but somebody got the jump. There's number 2, Carl Nunn. All of the 125cc riders now round here safely, and this new Donington Park circuit will really sort them out. It's tight, it's laid out to a Grand Prix format. Greg Hansen, number 5. Now there's a sight for sore eyes. Greg Hansen in the twilight of his career. Something similar to the man sitting alongside me, 3 times world champion Dave Thorpe, very much with his finger on the pulse these days. Hansen, not a name, David, we would have thought to be running at the front of this lot.
No, actually Greg has been running in the AMCA Championship all this year, which is the amateur association, and I think it's one of his first races with the professional boys.
Well, he's going well. He's on the inside of Carl Nunn. Number 2, Nunn then. He's the man, the championship leader, I remind you, with a bit to do. But Greg Hansen, number 5, giving him a run for his money. This circuit, as I said, laid out to Grand Prix specification. Hansen went very wide. That hill there with the ruts at the bottom, the riders need to get themselves lined up perfectly, otherwise the ruts will throw them sideways. Away they go again down the jump. Carl Nunn having to work for it. Number 4, Neil Prince. He's the man who came here 2nd in the championship. And Neil Prince now easing away. He's gone past Hansen. Hansen there. Now Carl Nunn with a man ahead of him, and that man on a Suzuki, Jamie Dobb, number 72. High in the air, Carl Nunn off the jump, heading away at the back of the circuit. Now, David, you've ridden all over the world. These men look as though they've got a job on their hands. How does this circuit compare with those at Grand Prix level?
Well, this circuit is actually a natural type circuit. They've got lots of natural drops. You can see that the track has developed during practice. They've got some big ruts to negotiate. I would think that the riders are going to enjoy the day.
Not too much evidence of big stones there. I was looking earlier on in practice. It's certainly cutting out at the bottom of the hill. Dobb seems to be making a really, really good job of it. Carl Nunn too. Is this going to stand up or dig out at the end of the day, do you think, this circuit?
Oh, I think it's digging out every lap. Every lap they do now, the ruts will be getting deeper and longer. It's going to be very hard for them to concentrate for the whole duration of the race. You're going to see lots of riders get cross-rutted, and there'll be legs and arms flailing everywhere.
I just wonder on that comment, concentrate for the race as Hansen goes round. Number 64 flying around there as well, Danny Smith. Danny Smith away down behind Greg Hansen. Also chasing hard after him, number 18, Tony Marshall. This the battle now for 5th place. Hansen's in 4th, Smith is in 5th, Marshall is in 6th, and it's all to play for. And I just wonder how Carl Nunn is going to gauge this race. He sits in the championship lead. He's in 2nd place in this race, but Jamie Dobb out in front, a good few points behind. David, is he going to ride psychologically, or will Carl Nunn go for the win?
I think Carl is actually going to settle, ride for a good, strong 2nd place.
Oh, sorry, David, sorry, that's number 75, David Kiff down there in a big way. Miraculously, all the other riders avoided him. The yellow flag telling the rest of the field to slow down because there's an incident, but Kiff is away. Sorry, David, I interrupted you.
No, I fully expect Carl to settle for 2nd. Jamie is obviously going very, very fast and pulling away every lap. and he will be looking to gain as many points as he can to make the last race very easy.
Still this battle raging for fifth. Number 64, Danny Smith. Number 18, Tony Marshall on the Yamaha. Smith is on a Honda, and he's pushing very hard, but these two now have lost touch of the man ahead of them as he rocketed off the jump. Greg Hansen, number 5, is pulling away. There's Marshall, number 18, still out in front. Number 72, the race leader, James Dobb on the Suzuki, and what a ride he's having. Fifth place though, number 64 still. Tony Marshall, 18, closing. The blue Yamaha rider over the top of the hill. Now look at those ruts. How carefully do you have to go into those ruts, David? Can they throw you?
Almost certainly they can. What you've got to imagine is that they're coming up a straight which is probably 6 to 10 metres wide, and they can see 10 to 15 ruts travelling at 30 or 40 mile an hour, and they have to pick one and make sure that they have the power on right at the bottom of them to drive straight through them.
Not an easy job to do. You have to make sure you pick the right rut as you come out of the corner, and just look at Tony Marshall. He's done exactly that. Round the outside of the number 64 rider, Danny Smith. So Smith has now dropped into 6th place. Up into 5th has gone Tony Marshall, and the Yamaha man leads the Honda. Oh, another one in deep trouble. 46, that's Darren Brooking, almost off the Suzuki. How he threaded his way through there, I have no idea. James Dobb, 72, on the yellow Suzuki. Big man for a 125, but he rides it well. He has had a wealth of experience. He's come good in the second half of the 1997 season. And David, he's brilliant at Supercross.
James is very good at Supercross. In fact, the last 3 months of this season, he's really come to form. He started to mix it with the big boys in the Grand Prix. He's growing in confidence every week, and I fully expect him to be the man to beat today.
He's also the local man. Ripley in Derbyshire is where Jamie Dobb hails from as he goes past the tail enders. 38, Kelly Swanson. Swanson now has gone ahead. He's up to 6th. He's gone past the number 64, and he is in 6th place, chasing number 18, Tony Marshall. Swanson has moved up. He's on a 1998 Yamaha, so one of the few riders out on next year's machinery. So with a bit of luck, by the time next season comes, he'll be more than familiar with the bike. Number 40, Mark Jones on a Honda, dropping away over the hill. There's Swanson, already now dropping away behind him, Danny Smith. Number 64, Swanson, in the bottom of the hill. Up he goes, over the top. Beautifully round number 38, away down the other side. Smith now chasing him down. These 4 riders having a race all of their own. Swanson now piling on the coals. Kelly Swanson, a name we've come to recognise over the years. There are a lot of bright young men in the world of international motocross, and here in the UK, David, but have we got another world champion on the scene?
Well, I'd like to think we have. Where he is right now, I really don't know. I know that the Federation are working hard towards having an academy for motocross where we can have the facilities to coach and train these young men. On the back of this group here, we have number 40, which is Mark Jones, the Welshman. He is one of the brightest young prospects we have in England right now.
Number 26 on the Yamaha, closing on the back of Danny Smith. Now that's Neil Shepherd. There's Smith, 64. Look for Shepherd on the inside line. And there, the number 40 rider David was talking about, Mark Jones on the Honda, on the left-hand side, taking the tight line and almost getting 2 birds with 1 stone. We said earlier in the race that there's a variety of lines here. Jones took a beautiful line there. There he is, number 40, Mark Jones. I think the man ahead of him is going to fall under the hammer. I think very much so that Danny Smith is going to succumb to Mark Jones, who's charging hard. These 4 riders, oh dear, he got it wrong then. From one side of the circuit to the other, Mark Jones was in trouble, David, and lost all of the advantage. He worked so hard for another fall, and number 25, Mick Abbott on, well, or rather off his Honda, into the rails, and almost Neil Prince landed in his pocket. But there's the race leader, Jamie Dobb, 72. Blissfully unaware of all the activity behind him. I suppose when you're out in front, David, it's relatively easy.
Yeah, James has got himself in a nice rhythm now. He's got a big cushion between himself and Carl, and he's just riding the race at his leisure. He's keeping the same distance, he's picking his lines, picking his ruts, and generally having a nice time.
The sun is shining here at Donington Park, and there's a good crowd around the back part of the circuit, that bit which is easily accessible from the facilities area. There are other areas of the circuit, of course, all of it surrounded by these steel rails. Again, Grand Prix specification. There's a good line for Dobb. up the grass. Doesn't use any of the existing ruts, but I suppose, David, as all this activity goes on, Dobb's got the opportunity to pick his lines. Not quite so easy for these fellas.
No, that's right. James has got a clear picture ahead of him. These riders are fighting hard, working for every inch of the track.
Number 6, Brian Jorgensen, teammate to the man leading the championship, Carl Nunn. Oh, Jorgensen got it wrong the front end, tucked in a little bit there and unsettled him. And again, it only takes a split-second mistake and the others rush away. That's how competitive it is. This is the scrap, all about 5th place, and there the man, Jorgensen, the Dane, number 6, closing, and I'd put money on him getting through because he's caught up miraculously well after a fairly sluggish start, I have to say. Race leader James Dobb into the closing stages now of this race, almost cruising, looking as though David is riding to work.
Yeah, he's just having a casual ride now. I think he's got 7 or 8 second advantage over Carl, enough time to allow for a mistake and still recover.
Well, there it is. This time round, the checkered flag will be out, and he's on the footrest like a trials rider. A little blip of the rear wheel for the crowd, and James Dobb takes the win, and what a convincing win it was. There it is. Nunn in second, Prince, Hansen, Pettit, and Tony Marshall was 6th.
Well, Jamie, you needed to win that one. You couldn't do any better than that, could you?
No, I mean, I'm a few points behind Carl, so I just got to keep trying to win as many races as I can, and hopefully I can do that. I got a good start. The Suzuki and the Dunlop tyres hooked up real good off the start and got me to the front where I needed to be, and could ride my own race.
You looked very good. How did you find the circuit?
It's good. I mean, it's a tricky little circuit. I kind of like it because you can use alternate lines, and it works for me. So it's working pretty good. As the race went on, I just eased it off a bit, just to save it a bit for the second moto. And also, I had a bad accident last week and smashed my thumb up as well. So I'll keep that up.
And we'll see the 1, 2, 5, 6.